What happens to earnest money when a home doesn't sell? I find that buyers and sellers have some confusion around this topic. So let's unpack this. You're a seller, your home is on the market, you get a contract, and part of that contract states that, say, the buyer's going to put down $3,000 for earnest money. There are two contingencies, let's say possible contingencies, in every real estate contract used in the state of Alabama. One of those is a financing contingency if the buyer's getting him a mortgage. And it states that should the buyer's mortgage situation not work out, the buyer is refunded their earnest money. Now, when that happens, both parties have to sign a mutual release agreeing, but the contract is very clear. The second contingency revolves around the home inspection. If the buyer and the seller cannot agree on the home inspection contingency and they choose to part ways, the contract is very clear that the buyer is refunded their earnest money once again. And once again, both parties have to sign a mutual release. Fast forward and say a buyer randomly changes their mind and they decide they don't want to buy your house anymore. Well, you're not going to be happy if you're a seller, and the buyer's probably going to expect their earnest money back. But once again, the only way the earnest money can be dispersed is if the buyer and the seller agree. And if they don't agree and we have an impasse, then that earnest money sits in the real estate office escrow account until someone interpleads the courts or until both parties agree. The state of Alabama real estate law is very clear that no funds can be dispersed until both parties agree. Seller, you're not going to be happy. You may feel like you've been wronged when a buyer randomly walks away. I personally agree with you. But unless that buyer agrees to let you have the earnest money, it's not yours. And Mr. Buyer, you're going to want your money back. But the seller's probably not going to be very happy. And if they choose not to sign the mutual release, then you don't get the money either. That means in order to get the money, someone goes to court or it just sits in the real estate office escrow account. Now you know, no more confusion around earnest money.